Have you ever noticed that the more financial advice you consume, the harder it becomes to know what to do? One person tells you to invest. Another says pay off your debt first. Someone insists buying a house is the smartest financial decision you'll ever make. Someone else says it's the biggest mistake you'll ever make. They're all confident. Some of them are probably right. The problem is, almost nobody explains why. And that's the reason this channel exists. Because once you understand why something works, you don't need someone on the internet making every decision for you. You can think for yourself. That's what Episteme Project is about. Episteme is a Greek word. It describes a deeper kind of knowledge. Not just knowing what is true, understanding why it's true. That became the philosophy behind this channel. Every week, we'll take one question about money. Questions like, should I invest or pay off my loan first? How much money should I actually have by my age? Why does earning more still not feel like enough? Am I genuinely behind, or does it just feel that way? Instead of giving you another opinion, we'll begin with research. We'll look at the data. We'll ask what psychology has to do with it. Then we'll turn all of that into something practical you can actually use. Because the right financial decision isn't always the same for everyone. A 24-year-old with no debt doesn't need the same advice as a 38-year-old with 2 children and a home loan. Context matters. That's the part most social media skips. This channel won't. Now, you're probably wondering why I started this. It's actually pretty straightforward. I got sick of finding answers that never actually explained why. I'm a software engineer. I have a full-time job. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. Like a lot of people, I'd spend evenings trying to understand money, only to end up more confused than when I started. Not because the information wasn't out there. There was simply too much of it. Everyone seemed to have an answer. Very few people showed their reasoning. So over dozens of late nights, usually after everyone else had gone to bed, I started building the kind of channel I wished I would have found years earlier. There wasn't a name, no logo, no character, just one simple idea. Make personal finance a little less confusing. One well-researched question at a time. I changed things more times than I'd like to admit. Colors, designs, scripts, even individual words. Nobody watching would ever notice most of it. But I would. Because if I'm asking you to trust the thinking, every detail should reflect that. That's how Episteme Project began. I wasn't trying to build another finance channel. I simply wanted to build the one I wished already existed. If you've ever looked at your savings and wondered whether you're behind, if you've ever read 5 completely different opinions and somehow ended up even more confused, or maybe you've just wished someone would explain the reasoning instead of handing you another rule to follow, I think you'll feel at home here. Sometimes the popular advice will be right. Sometimes it won't. The interesting part is understanding why. If that sounds like the kind of channel you've been looking for, I'd love to have you here. Subscribe and join me each week as we make personal finance a little less confusing. Because here, we don't just talk about money. We ask better questions about it. I'll see you in the next one.